My phone is my bank.
Sampath Mobile Banking. Convenient, easy, saves time. Sampath Bank, we present your future.
A very good evening and welcome. This is Weekend Primetime News here on NTV and Shakti TV. I'm Ramesh Bandara. Let's start off with a look at your headlines tonight.
4 dead following an accident along the Thanamalwila Udawalawa road. Sawath Fonseca makes 5 pledges to build the nation. Extensive investigations launched over the shooting in Blumenthal.
On to our top story tonight. President Maithripala Sirisena presided over the start of the second 2020 encounter between Sri Lanka and Pakistan at the R. Premadas Stadium in Colombo earlier this evening. 4 persons died and 13 were injured in a motor accident on the Thanamalwila Udawalawe road early this morning. Police state that a group of persons returning from a pilgrimage to Katragama in a small lorry had met with the tragedy.
The accident occurred when a small lorry which was travelling along the Thanamalwila Udawalawe road veered off the road and toppled into the Haburu Loya. Our correspondent noted that before toppling into the Haburu Loya, the lorry in question had collided onto a tree. According to initial investigation, it was revealed that the accident occurred when the driver of the lorry fell asleep at the wheel. The victims were residents from the Kuruvita area in Ratnapura. Among the deceased were a father and a daughter from the same family.
The bridge is not safe. Around 20 such accidents have taken place here, resulting in 30 deaths. The authorities nor the irrigation department have taken any measures to make this passage safe.
Police state that among the 17 who were travelling in the lorry were 5 children. The injured, including the driver, were admitted to the Embelipita Base Hospital and Udawalawe Divisional Hospital for treatment. Measures have been taken to hand over the bodies of the victims to their relatives.
A youth was killed and 4 others were injured when a group of political party supporters met with an accident in the Rambawe area in Anuradhapura. Police said that the victims were supporters of Minister Duminda Dissanayake.
Supporters of Minister Duminda Dissanayake were run over by a van while they were engaged in election campaigning opposite the Rambawe Mahavidyalaya. The deceased was a 22-year-old resident from the Uppal colony in Rambawe. The 4 persons who were injured were admitted to the Anuradhapura General Hospital and 2 were moved to the intensive care unit for further treatment. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said at the time of the accident, the van in question was driven by the OIC of the anti-vice squad of Anuradhapura. The OIC has been arrested.
The Criminal Investigations Department is carrying out investigations into the shooting that took place yesterday in Blumenthal, Colombo.
A woman was killed and 13 others injured in a drive-by shooting at an election rally attended by a crowd of supporters of Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake in Blumenthal, Colombo yesterday. The IGP arrived at the crime scene today. Investigations are being carried out on the information at hand. We will identify the suspects connected to this crime. We will do the needful to expedite the arrest of the suspects and take legal action. We will take action to prevent such incidents from taking place. The police have requested the public to provide the CID with any information regarding this incident by contacting 078 591 753. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe paid his last respects to 45-year-old Siti Farida Siti Nasima, who was killed in the shooting. She was a resident from Kimbulela in Todalanga. The 13 people injured in the shooting continue to receive treatment at the National Hospital in Colombo. Director of the National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, said that 3 of them are being treated in the ICU.
On a related note, views were expressed today regarding the drive-by shooting in Blumenthal, Colombo yesterday.
The group that were engaged in canvassing were armed. Police reported that among them were people known as Sanka and Army Sampat. That means these 2 people had come for this election campaign. they had returned to Sri Lanka recently. It has been reported that units were given to them at the newly constructed housing complex. Where is the statement to this? Where is the voice of the UNP condemning this? Where is the voice of good governance? They are silent. They are following the same process they followed to cover up the central bank scam. Expedite these investigations. They are bringing in the underworld, providing them accommodation and taking them out canvassing. During the time of the UPFA, we worked in Sinhala. But over the past 6 months, the UNP committed theft in English. Today, the underworld kills in English. So when the underworld is moving people clad in ties and coats, it is good governance. We hope that the Elections Commissioner will conduct an investigation on this. They think we can be intimidated by bombs and shootings. We are not people engaged in the politics of inciting fear. Rajapaksa is in fear. If underworld gangs were with Mahinda Rajapaksa, we cannot say anything. But we say that Mahinda Rajapaksa did this. Dilan Pereira is speaking like a parrot from Badula, not knowing the atmosphere here in Colombo. Dilan's government is the underworld. We do not need politicians who are engaged in such acts of terror. The shadow of Mahinda Rajapaksa is trying to come out like a ghost.
Mahinda Rajapaksa එදා තිබ්බ සෙවණැල්ල තමයි අද හොල්මනක් වගේ දෙට එන්න හදන්නේ.
Here are views expressed by political party leaders on the election stage.
අපි සම්මුතිවාදී ක්‍රමයක් තියෙන්නේ. සමහර පක්ෂ එමෙතිකම් ගන්නෙ නැහැ.
We will bring in a system that is based on consensus. Some parties do not accept ministerial portfolios. Therefore, through this system, we will allow them to join to govern the country by making proposals and also overlook our operations by chairing the select committee in parliament. We are presenting you a bouquet of flowers, but Mahinda Rajapaksa is presenting you a pot full of thieves. We will destroy that pot and bring in the flower pot to create a new country. We wish to tell the potato farmers not to be afraid. We will support to develop agriculture. We will establish an agriculture sales authority with complete powers. We will also introduce a certified price for paddy and provide an insurance system. We will also provide farms for those engaged in animal husbandry. We created a country where people eat rice. We created the people who could eat rice. But they want the citizens to eat bread. They want us to eat bread. We will change this situation. We will introduce 380 rupees or more for rubber. We will provide 50 rupees for paddy and 70 rupees for milk. I believe that the price is 30 rupees. We have made the calculations and presented to you on what we can provide. If this economy is to be developed, we need to recommence the stalled development. That is our aspiration.
For a corruption-free country, a corruption-free parliament. Think before you vote.
We will fulfill the 5 points that are required to build a moral and disciplined society. We will build a disciplined system in the country. We will create a transparent mechanism where job placement will be based on computers. We will also create a system where 2 bags of rice will be provided each week to every low-income generating family of 4. We will also implement the road traffic rules and regulations to the letter. We have seen that innocent children were raped and murdered in the country. We will bring strict laws and ensure that the capital punishment is imposed on those who rape and murder. We will start this from the criminals involved in the rape and murder of Vindhya from Jaffna. 85% of the population have agreed that drug peddlers need to be hanged. We will respect that view.
The series of main political party rallies of the United National Party in the Hambantota district commenced yesterday.
The first main rally was held under the auspices of the UNP group leader of the Hambantota district, Sajith Premadasa, in Tangol yesterday. Chief Prelate of the Malwatu chapter said only one thing, and that is to learn how to do public service from Sajith Premadasa. My friends, recently I received a certificate from the Supreme Court. I also received a certificate from the Chief Prelate of the Malwatu chapter. These two certificates are enough for me, but I have only one more certificate that I wish to obtain. This certificate will be from my beloved people of the Hambantota district, who will cast their votes for me in order to obtain a historical win by record number of votes. I wish to take this opportunity to say that I have full faith in you. I would like to tell the former president that you cannot develop Hambantota by sending your son Namal Rajapaksa in helicopters and by playing raga matches, which is one of the reasons for your downfall. I would also wish to say that if Namal Rajapaksa does not understand the meaning of community service, then I would like to voluntarily dedicate a small amount of my precious time to give tuition class to Namal Rajapaksa as to what development means.
A special meeting was held at the auditorium of the Ministry of Sports under the auspices of leader of the JVP, Anukumara Disanayaka.
This political force, which was defeated by the public on the 8th of January, is attempting to acquire power by sowing the seeds of racism. Anyone who is trying to obtain power and strengthen his power by promoting racism will not have to pay for this. Instead, the people who will have to pay for this are the mothers, fathers and children in our society. That is why no matter what form or which side this issue crops up, we have to identify the need to defeat and destroy racism.
We can see that even during this election they are trying to spread racism. Certain organizations are distorting the national flag and are raising a different one. We know the organizations that are only using racism as a means of obtaining votes. We should not let go of our cause of building national unity. We must build a platform for this. It was said that it should be mandatory to send children to Sunday school. Why should we send our children to Sunday school when they are doing just fine? It would be better instead to make it mandatory for those in Parliament to attend Sunday school.
ඡන්දේ විතරක් මැරවරේකට දෙන්න එපා ගහනවා උන් අපිට ගහනවා ඒක නිසා හොඳ වැදගත් පිළිවෙලක් ඇති උගත්කමක් තියෙන කෙනෙකුට ඡන්දේ දෙන්න.
Think before you vote.
Let's now turn our attention to some of the views expressed on the political arena.
Ethanol යුගයේ අවසන් කරන්න
We took this step to end the era of ethanol. We took this measure in order to end the drug culture. It is for democracy and media freedom that we wanted to put an end to the white van culture. The list continues and may take time to complete.
සුදු වෑන් සංස්කෘතිය අවසන් කරන්න. අපිට ලයිස්ට්ුව කියනවා නම් කියාගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් දවස් දෙක තුනක්.
We have flaws. The government also had flaws. At a time when we had power, we did not penalize some acts. We did not make amends. We sometimes ignored things. We believed that everything would remain the same.
If you look at both the party and the 100-day government, some businessmen were harassed. Some were labelled as Mahinda's affiliates. If Mahinda Rajapaksa was the president, these businessmen would have helped him. However, that is no reason to seek revenge from the businessman. If the businessman is guilty of theft, then he can be penalized.
During this time period, development did not take place and promises were not fulfilled. Only revenge was sought. At this moment, everyone connected to Rajapaksa have been taken to the CID or the FCID without any reason.
අලුතෙන් ඇති කරපු FCID එකට අල්ලස් දූෂණ කොමිසමට හැම එක්කෙනෙක්ම ගෙනියලා කිසිම පදනමක් නැතිව
අපේ රජයේ පත් වුණාට පස්සේ
After our government is elected, we will continue with the investigations and the operations that are carried out by the police, the Criminal Investigations Department and the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. We will continue with the judicial processes. Those who have committed wrongs will be punished.
There is an orphanage in Hambantota. Foreigners are brought there and shown it. Then they get funds. However, not a single cent had been spent for those children.
When we look at the contents of Mahinda Rajapaksa's recipe and our policy of a new country in 60 months, it is clear that the UNP's 5-point promises can face any challenges posed by the world. The UNP's program can transform the country into a first-class nation.
ලෝකේ ඕනෑම අභියෝගයකට මුහුණ දෙන්න පුළුවන් පළවෙනි පෙළේ රටක් බාට පත් කරන වැඩපිළිවෙල එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය තියනවා කියන එක පැහැදිලිවම පේනවා.
What did the government do over the past 6 months? They stopped the work of what was initiated. They secured points from work that we did. They declared open projects that we started.
අපි හදපු ඒවා ගිහිල්ලා විවෘත කරපු එක. මගේම කලිසම අගේට ඇඳගෙන උගේ වගේ යනවා.
We did not do some things. We did not send white vans. We did not commit murder. We did not import ethanol. We did not allow for fraud and corruption to take place. We, however, reduced the prices of petrol, diesel, kerosene oil and gas. We even reduced the prices of goods including coriander.
Road development projects have stalled. Other development projects have also stalled. They were forced to stall. They say the economy had developed in this backdrop. These are lies. I say to the masses, be patient until the 17th.
There are factions that try to bring us down. At times there is victory and at times there is defeat. You must be able to accept that.
In Parliament, the Prime Minister was like a lion. When he speaks, he stops and says to keep quiet. That is how the Prime Minister behaved. Once the motion of no confidence against the Prime Minister was submitted, he behaves like a reptile that had come into contact with kerosene. Elect 113 persons with a backbone into Parliament with Mahinda.
When we were given ministerial portfolios, the jealousy of some was larger than Russia. It was said that Soiza joined the UNP. This spread across the villages. When I went home, my wife asked me if I had joined the UNP. I said no, do not believe those things.
What did they say back then? They said that Maithripala Sirisena was a perfect public servant. Now, they want Mahinda Rajapaksa to be the Prime Minister. However, the SLFP does not approve of that. The hooting had spread from Naula to Monaragala.
This movie will be played for several days starting from the 18th and 19th. It will be called the National Government. The entire lot will sit together calling themselves the National Government. There will be Dinesh and many others in it.
Here are some of the excerpts from the Face the Nation program aired on MTV at 7:30 p.m. yesterday.
Actually, I had a look at all 4 manifestos. That's UPFA, UNP, JVP and TNA. And it's more or less the same old stories, nothing new in it. So I feel it's far below the expectations of the voters and they have not adequately addressed the current issues.
Mr. Abhinandan, we see pledges being made by political parties ahead of an election, but no one mentioned about generating revenue. How important is this aspect?
That's true. Actually, that's what I'm saying, that they don't have principles, the policies they are going to adapt. If you have the right principles and the right policies, then only you can understand how you are going to generate income and how you are going to spend it. So, I mean, I cannot expect that from the current political parties to that extent. In the global context, my understanding is that now we are not discussing about simple development. We are discussing about the sustainable development. So, within the sustainable development framework, how the developing world should adapt to those things, and then only we can decide how we are going to generate income. Without knowing where we are going and just trying to find some money through lending or some other mechanism will not do.
Manifestos need to be given a bit more seriousness with our people, for the simple reason I think there are people who vote more with the heart than with intelligence. I'm sorry to say that. We are driven by emotion. We are driven by presents given to us. We are driven by අයියෝ අපේ මනුස්සයානේ මෙයාට අපේ තාත්තා ගැහුවානේ අපේ සීයා ගැහුවානේ මෙයාගේ අපේ සීයා මෙයාගේ සීයාට ඡන්දෙ දුන්නානේ. You know, we have to get beyond that and look at the policy as it is, and if that happens, then parties will also start taking policies seriously. For example, I can say in developed world where judicial systems have developed, public law has now surpassed boundaries where people are actually thinking of taking political parties to court for not following what you promised the people. Simple argument. You promised us a policy and you came into power. You did not perform, therefore now I'm taking you to court.
A religious ceremony was organized at the Siva Subramaniam Kovil in Mathura to invoke blessings on the students facing the GCE advanced level examination this year.
The special puja conducted by the head priest of the Sella Katharagama Mahagana Devalaya was organized by the Samadhi Community Development Foundation. Dear children, in another 25 years, you will all be the leaders of our nation. Therefore, your aim should not only be passing your advanced level examinations, but also becoming an individual who will render a service to your community. You should aspire to be the person who will create better employment for everyone. Meanwhile, the website of Buddhika Patharana was also launched at this event.
The island-wide campaign to urge people to make the correct decision when exercising their franchise at the polls, Think, commenced from 2 provinces today. The campaign is being organized by Newsfirst, Sirasa and Shakti, together with the campaign for a free and fair election, or CAFE.
Phase 1 of the campaign to raise awareness among the public on the importance of their vote to elect suitable persons to office commenced from Katharagama today.
අපිට හොරු අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. අපිට ඕන හොඳ පුද්ගලයෙක්.
අපිත් ඉතින් හොඳ පුද්ගලයෙක් තමයි තෝරගන්න ඕනේ. රටේ අනාගතයක් තියෙන නායකයෙකුට තමයි ඡන්දය පාවිච්චි කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ.
පක්ෂේ පාටත් බලන්න නැතුව සුදුසු ඡන්දය දෙන්න කියලා මම ඉල්ලා හිටිනවා.
Signatures were also obtained for the pledge for a better country.
We have commenced a program that will encourage voters to build an environment for a proper election. This program will continue for 14 days across the island, raising awareness among the public.
The campaign, which commenced from Katharagama, reached several parts of Thisamaharama. Another leg of the Think campaign commenced in the north, subsequent to religious observances at the Nallur Kovil in Jaffna. The campaign travelled to the Kilinochchi and Vaunia districts today and also obtained signatures to the pledge for a better country.
Now this campaign, which is themed Think, is currently worked off in the Kilinochchi town, and we arrived at the Jaffna town earlier in the day and we pasted stickers and banners in the Jaffna town, and a number of people arrived there too to support us in our endeavour. And we will be heading towards the Vaunia town tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. So stay tuned, we will bring you the very latest. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Florine Rajendran reporting from the Kilinochchi town.
Scouts from all over the world were provided an opportunity to experience the cultures of different countries at the 23rd World Scout Jamboree in Jamboree, Japan. Today was day 4 of the World Scout Jamboree, which will conclude on the 7th of August.
This is the global village of the World Scout Jamboree. Stalls were allocated for all participating countries to share their culture with the scouts from across the globe. Several stalls were filled with activities for the visitors to enjoy. Sri Lankan scouts toured the premises and shared their experiences. The Sri Lankan stall was declared open by the chairman of the Asia Pacific Scout region, Dr. Chow Shu Po.
In your country is wonderful, and you have made a tremendous progress and development in scouting. I think scouting is good for youth, and I wish every success for your country.
Visitors to the Sri Lankan stall were educated on Sri Lankan culture and natural diversity. They were presented with a free booklet from the Sri Lankan Tourist Promotion Board and a Sri Lankan teach packet. Visitors were also given the opportunity to enjoy a hot cup of Sri Lankan tea.
On to sports news now. Sri Lanka are taking on Pakistan in the second T20 encounter in Colombo, hoping to level the series.